about to watch a documentary on Martin Luther and the Catholic Church, leading to the Protestant Reformation. Martin Luther was a revolutionary man, born on November 10, 1483 in Germany. He changed the Christian faith forever. Martin Luther's father wanted him to become a lawyer because his father was a miner himself and he wanted Martin to have a better life than him. One day, Martin Luther was caught in a thunderstorm, which was very frightening for him, and he pleaded to God to save him. He promised God that if he saved him from the thunderstorm, that he would then become a monk. While Luther was working in the Catholic Church in Rome, he seen lots of corruption. This made him branch off and form his own Protestant Reformation. You're not only responsible for what you say, but also for what you do not say. This quote by Martin Luther is about how he thought if he did not speak out against what the Catholic Church and the Pope were doing, that he would be held responsible in the eyes of the Lord.
Martin Luther explored and read different scriptures of the Bible in depth on his road to earning his bachelor's degree in biblical studies in 1508. While he was studying the Bible, he realized that many things that Pope Leo X and the church were doing were wrong. He felt that the church was straying away from the truth written in the Bible, so he began to reach out and teach his own beliefs and enlightenment about how salvation is reached just by faith alone. He expressed his disagreement with the church and the Pope were doing by nailing the 95 Theses on the church door. Every man must do two things alone. He must do his own believing and his own dying. By this quote, Martin Luther was expressing how he felt that just by believing in God and having faith alone is what you need to get into heaven, not by giving indulgences and paying the church, which is what Pope Leo X was preaching.
Martin Luther had many encounters with the Catholic Church. He wasn't afraid to express his ideas and nailed the 95 Theses to the church door. In the 95 Theses, he talked about more than just selling indulgences, but other wrongdoings of the Catholic Church. They would have a meeting to discuss this and considered him a heretic and banished him from the Holy Roman Empire. Luther gained many followers thanks to this, which helped him stand up against the Catholic Church. The Council of Trent would come due to the unrest in the Catholic Church. Calvin would later be impacted greatly by Martin Luther, even though he was 25 years younger than him. Few things from Calvin, their ideas were very similar. After Luther died, Calvin would continue to spread the ideas of his mentor. If you want to change the world, pick up your pen and write. A good example of Martin Luther nailing the 95 Theses to the church door.
Martin Luther exchanged letters with many different people regarding his faith. One letter was even exchanged with Pope Leo X. Martin Luther did this in a very respectful way by telling the Pope all of his problems with him and also problems within the Catholic Church. In Martin Luther's letter to Pope Leo X, he says, "Among those monstrous evils of this age with which I have now for 3 years been waging war, I am sometimes compelled to look to you and to call you to mind, most blessed Father Leo. In truth, since you alone are everywhere considered as being the cause of my engaging war, I cannot at any time fail to remember you. And although I have been compelled by the causeless raging of your impious flatterers against me to appeal from your seat to future counsel, fearless of the feudal degrees of your preceders, Pius and Julius, who in their foolish training prohibited such an action. Yet I have never been so alienated in feeling from your blessedness as to not have sought you with all my might, in diligent prayer and crying to God all the best gifts for you and for your see. But those who have hitherto endeavored to terrify me with the majesty of your name and authority, I have begun quite to despise and triumph over. One thing I see remaining, which I cannot despise, and this has been the reason of my writing anew to your blessedness, namely, that I find the blame is cast on me, and that it is imputed to me as a great offense, that in my rashness I am judged to have spared not even your person." Martin Luther also exchanged letters with average people discussing the love and faithfulness of God. This can be shown in the letter exchanged with Jerome Weller. Martin Luther's letter to Jerome Weller was wrote in July of 1530. The letter says, "My dear Jerome, the reason that you are targeted by the devil is because you are a firm believer in Christ. The devil never wastes time with enemies of Christ. It is natural that all of us who are Christians make an adversary out of the devil. As St. Peter says, your adversary, the devil, walketh about. Therefore, excellent Jerome, you ought to rejoice in this attack of the devil, because it is a sure sign that God is loving and merciful to you."
Well, I mean, I guess that the answer to that is that I would have followed Lutheran because I'm Protestant. And I think that his break with the church was real because what they were doing was not scriptural. They had forgotten all about the Bible. They were just doing what they believed in. Because the Roman Catholic Church was so popular then, they had gotten away from keeping the main thing the main thing. And so, yeah, I'm following Lutheran now just by being Methodist, as are all the other denominations in Christendom. They're all in some way or another following Luther because they've departed from the Roman Catholic Church. And it's impossible to buy your way to heaven. And when people do that, there's really another motive. It's about money.